Hi, Scott Tipton. I wanted to be able to give you an update on some of the activity that we've had in Washington this week. I am pleased to be able to report to you that our Protecting Our Water Rights Act is moving forward. Important for all Coloradoans, protecting our private property rights from an overreach by the federal government. This legislation, which I just passed recently through the Full Natural Resources Committee, is now being scheduled for the floor, hopefully in the early part of February. We'll keep you updated on this important legislation to be able to protect our rights in Colorado. The big topic certainly this week has been the omnibus bill, which is going to be the actual budget. For the first time now in over 4 years, the federal government actually has a budget to be able to eliminate that process of moving from crisis to crisis through the continuing resolutions. We had the framework or the blueprint for that budget, which was initiated a week or so ago, and then the final details of that came in the omnibus. This was legislation which I ultimately could not support simply because of the impact on our communities, and hearing back from our district some of the unintended consequences of the blueprint when it comes to addressing veterans issues, which are important to every American, and we need to make sure that we're standing behind them. One impact that we certainly saw that was impacting every county in the 3rd Congressional District was the zeroing out of PILT funds, which is an acronym for Payment in Lieu of Taxes. As many of us know, throughout the 3rd Congressional District in its entirety, better than 50% of the land is either federal, state, or tribal lands, meaning it's out of the tax base. Payment in lieu of taxes, or the PILT legislation, was intended to be able to get those funds back to our county commissioners, to be able to take care of essential services, to be able to support education, to make sure that the emergency service personnel were readily available to address challenges on those federal public lands. That was zeroed out, taking away anywhere from a couple $100,000 to millions of dollars for each of our counties to be able to address those fundamental services. This is a real impact. I visited with every county commission throughout the 3rd Congressional District, and they've expressed their exasperation that they never knew when the money was coming or how much it would be, yet they were to provide the services and supposed to be able to put together a budget. We have met with leadership and received their assurances that this will be ultimately funded through an attachment on the Farm Bill or another legislative mechanism. That is something that we are sending a letter to encourage to make sure that that does happen. But the impacts right now on our communities are going to be felt in terms of the planning and providing for those services. We're going to continue to fight to make sure that we have those resources available to our rural communities, which actually need that money to be able to operate. When it gets back to our veterans, we've co-sponsored legislation with Jeff Miller, who is chairman of the Armed Services Committee, to be able to make sure that we're fulfilling that commitment that we've all made and should make to all of our veterans, serving and those who have retired now from service to our military, to make sure that we're fulfilling those COLA obligations in terms of the retirement that was promised to them. This is the least the country can do and something that we're going to be pushing forward. Congressman Miller seems to be optimistic on this legislation to be able to move forward, and something that we're going to continue to push on as well. We're going to continue to make sure that we're addressing regulations that are impacting our ability to be able to create jobs and to be able to get the economies moving in the 3rd Congressional District, supporting the REINS Act and continuing a variety of different hearings. We'll soon be having an actual hearing bringing Congress to Colorado, hopefully through the Small Business Committee that I chair, overseeing energy, ag, and trade, to be able to address some of the implication of the greater sage-grouse and the Gunnison sage-grouse as well. As always, we certainly appreciate your contact with our office, and we'll look forward to seeing you as we move through the district in the coming work week.